More lessons from the Master Teacher. This is the Sabbath School lesson for Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. Rabbi Jesus. Of all the chapter beginnings in the New Testament, none is more famous than this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. And John 1 soon takes you to the unforgettable verse, and the Word became flesh and lived among us. And we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. John 1:14. Read John chapter 1, verses 1 through 14. What are these texts telling about who Jesus was and what he was doing here? What should this tell us about Jesus as the great example of a teacher? John chapter 1, verses 1 through 14. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. This man came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. This was the true light, which gives light to every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. The same God who spoke to Adam and Eve in the garden and to Jacob in the middle of nowhere now shows up as a person. God, says the New Testament, was personified in Jesus. Through Jesus, we can learn about God's will and God's way, because Jesus was God. The chapter goes on to say how John the Baptist was so compelling a preacher that even religious leaders from Jerusalem suspected that he might be someone special. But he was preparing the way for someone greater than himself. Someone astonishingly special was about to appear, and he, John the Baptist, would be unworthy to untie the thong of his sandal. John 1:27. The next day he saw Jesus and declared that he was the Son of God. That day, and also a day later, he called Jesus the Lamb of God. Also, two of John the Baptist's followers decide to follow Jesus himself. And when Jesus asks, what are they looking for? They call him Rabbi, which translated means teacher. John 1:38. Jesus then is a rabbi, a teacher. But never has there been a human teacher like him, because again, he is God. In other words, God came down to humanity in the form of a human being, and in that form, he functioned as a rabbi, a teacher. No wonder Ellen White called Jesus the greatest teacher the world has ever seen. Signs of the Times, June 10, 1886. After all, this teacher was God. Considering who Jesus was, why does it make sense to learn from him the best ways of teaching spiritual truth? What can we learn from Jesus about why not only what we say is important for teaching, but what we do as well?